hi everybody, and thanks for joining us again. So today I'm speaking to Phuthanang, and we are focusing on building generational wealth, which is the series that I've started. And I keep saying I started this series just for my own benefit more than anybody else. And if anybody else actually does gain something from it, I think that's a brilliant thing. So I've got Phuthanang on the chair. She will introduce herself. So for anybody who's watching us for the first time, please subscribe. And if you are one of our followers, thank you for following us. Please do comment, like, share, and we'd love to get some feedback from you on what you think about the topics that we handle. Phuthanang, welcome.
Thanks, Mpume. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conversation and just sharing my thoughts. No expert. I'm just an average human being. So I'm just going to share my thoughts.
That's great. Anyway, for this series, we've got a big disclaimer that says this is not about financial advice at all. People must go to their financial advisors if there's anything that they want to do. Here, we're just sharing people's thoughts and people's experiences, and we take it from there. Yeah. So thank you for coming through. So please introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do.
Okay. So my name is Phuthanang Motsielwa. I am a traveler at heart. If I could get paid for traveling, that's what I would spend the rest of my life doing. I would just pack up my family and off we would go. And I work as an accountant. I work in a firm that is based in Sunny Hill, which I started, co-founded with my partners 11 years ago now. And we're based in Sunny Hill in Joburg. I am a mother to two kids, a 6-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. And the four of us with my husband live out in Hartebees, close to the mountains. And one of our interests is hiking, although this year has just been very busy and I have not done much hiking, but that's definitely another one of my interests. And I absolutely love money. And wealth creation is definitely one of those things that I enjoy, you know.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you say you love money. And the reason why I love that is because we were kind of brought up with money conversations not happening. And it was usually frowned upon when you say you love money, you know, like how can you be loving money? And the Bible will be quoted in out of context when it comes to loving money. Yeah. And every time I hear, because I think it's taken me time to even also be confident to say I love money. And I was in Durban last week and I was at the till and there was an Indian lady there who was talking to the teller. And she just kept repeating about how much she loved money. And I got fascinated standing there. I was like, wow, it's so great just to hear somebody saying, I love money. Because I think if you love money, you embrace it, right? And chances are you're going to attract it, because how can you attract something that you don't love? How can you have something that you don't love? And that for me was an eye-opener. I'm not even sure when the aha moment kind of happened. Yeah. So please talk to me about what does generational wealth mean for you?
So generational wealth for me means it's a legacy thing. It's about knowing I have equipped my children to equip their children, to equip their children, etc., etc. I think we generally like, or there's so much talk, let me say, that I've seen around generational curses, you know. all these negative patterns that happen in families. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, they have a generational curse. And we don't realize that we actually can have generational blessings as well. Somebody can decide and say, it's done, guys. Like, it ends with me. Okay. Nobody in my family is going to be poor, or nobody in my family is going to be unhealthy and die at the age of 35. Whatever it is, that the patterns that we see, that we learn. As kids, we go through conditioning. We talk about raising our kids, but what we're actually talking about is conditioning them in a certain way, most of us, because they have to fit in, and we're all trying to fit in one way or the other. Some of the conditioning that I come from is about just not having enough money to do whatever. It could be anything. And some of the decisions that I have made, fundamental decisions, come from those moments when I was told that you don't have money to buy XYZ, or, you need to think about your siblings, you're the first child, please be considerate, etc., etc. I made fundamental decisions in those moments, and that's probably why I'm an accountant today, But I made the decision that I am not going to, my life is going to be different. I've always believed that money is a tool. It's a tool that's going to help you to express who you are to the world, and it's going to help you to let the world experience you. Because that quote that says there's no there's no whatever in playing small, let your light shine. I can't remember. Marianne Williamson. Yeah. So there's no benefit to the world for you to play small. Yeah. And playing small or playing big, if I can call it, actually living up to your personal power, sometimes does require money. And money is that tool that you're going to use to let us experience Mpume and listen to Mpume's podcast, because I don't know who else was going to put it the way Mpume put it. And if Mpume did not stand up and let us experience that using the resources that she has been given at her disposal through the gifts that have been given to her, then we are missing out. If you can think about anybody who actually stood up and did something, they had to silence the negative talk. They had to keep getting up. They had to persevere. They had to do all of this. They had to believe in it. So that for me is generational wealth. It's what am I leaving to my kids? Is it just the money? Money is important. I can't just leave them the money. I need to give them the tools to be able to manage that money and actually have it go from generation to generation. And, it's like how in the workplace they talk about the technical skills as you move higher become so irrelevant. It's more about your management skills, your interpersonal, your people skills, etc. All of those skills far supersede the technical, because you can train the technical up. But if someone is just not willing, they have a bad attitude, the people skills, it's difficult. It really becomes difficult. And that is the stuff that I need to be teaching my kids, because I think in terms of the money, I'm convinced that is fine. That is taken care of. They will have the money. But will they have that nurturing inside of them to be able to actually take care of the money that they would have been left with?
Yeah. And why is this important to you? And I like that you talk about how they can take care of the money. Because I think that's the part that I keep laughing about it with the people that I've spoken to, about the fact that now you work hard and you leave this money. But then just the next generation, not even second generation or third generation, can just squanders this money away.
Yep.
But like, how do you then make sure that like this second generation, the first one, just can pass it on?
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question. I mean, if you are Jeff Bezos, I don't even know, or if you're Elon Musk, let's say Elon Musk.
Yeah.
If you're Elon Musk, it's very difficult for your children to squander that type of wealth. They have to be on a mission, right?
Exactly.
But for the rest of us,
and billions.
Yeah, no, they have to be on a mission. They have to be like, wait, King, I'm gonna fly a plane and I'm gonna just let the money fly down into the ocean. Literally, you're on a mission. But for the rest of us average people, who are going to leave, I don't know, maybe a couple of millions, maybe 1 million to your kids, and you are wanting them to, maybe have a better start, have a property when they start working, have a car when they start with basic things that we wish we could have had when we started. Then, for me, it's about just the conversations that I have with my kids as early as they are now, 6 and 2, and making sure that the beliefs that I'm creating within them about money are not rooted in the scarcity, which is where I come from. I come from, there's just not enough. They will never be enough. And I need to teach them that there's always enough and there will always be more than enough. The whole thing about money being a currency. So what you're trying to do is you're not trying to hoard money. You're trying to create, inflows and outflow, just like what you do with your life. You get up, you move, you do things, you go back to sleep. You don't sit in one place the whole day, every day. You are moving. And the same thing with money. That's what you want. You want your money to be moving around. You want your money to, like I said, help you to express yourself in life. And that means different things for both my kids. And those are the conversations that we have. What are your desires? What is it that you would like to do? You've got $10, you've got $20, you've got $1,000. What would you like to do with that money? So in terms of why it's important, I think it's really a nice to have for us. I think everybody is born with the innate ability to generate wealth and create money and all of that. And so it's really just a nice to have to know that, okay, at least my kids are not going to be starting from negative, like with student loans, if they decide to go to university. That would be nice, But if they started with student loans, you know what, this is life, guys. They will figure it out. But for me, I just want them to have better than that. I want them to not make decisions that are perceived life or death, because I think a lot of decisions we think are life or death, but they're not. I want them to express themselves. If they decide that, you know what, I like cooking, I just think that cooking is my thing, let me go and cook, then go and cook. I didn't have those luxuries. I had to make sure that I, go to school, finish school, get a job, the typical formula. But if we had different conversations at home about money, if I had heard different things about money at home, my decisions may have been different,
Yeah. And I think it's that part of giving them just the basis to start, right? But I think there's also a bigger ambition of for them to be able to grow what you've left and make it easier even for the next generations to come. Because I think for me that will be the ideal situation. But and I think the biggest question is, like, how do you even get there? Like, what are you supposed to do? Sometimes it seems daunting. Like, where do I start? For somebody who's listening, who's just starting off out of university, like, where do they even start?
Yeah. I think if this is about educating your kids about money and wealth, etc., it has to start with you, because I don't think you can teach something that you don't know or something that you are uncomfortable with. And so there's a lot of resources out there. Let's say wealth is just not within your radar, right? You've just been moving through life, but now you're wanting to actually start looking at wealth and saying, how can I create wealth? You have to find a way that is interesting to you. So you will hear other people saying, oh, I made $1 million from Bitcoin. I just made my first million from, see, billions are on my mind. I'm talking about billions. But anyway, I just made my first million from cryptocurrency. And then you're thinking, oh, yeah, maybe crypto is the way to go, running off to crypto, but you don't understand it. You just heard Mbume told you that, she put in 150,000 Rand last year, December, and that 150,000 Rand is now $1 million. And she's able to take her family out on holiday in December nicely, and she's not worried about costs, etc. Or then you hear, oh, Phuthanang has 6 properties, and out of that 6 properties, she's now decided she's going to leave her job and she's just going to be sitting at home. She's a housewife now. Yo, let me go and do property. You're running off to property. It doesn't work that way. There are so many different, unique ways to make money. And each one of us has that 1 or 2 or 3 ways. It doesn't matter, however many ways they are for you specifically. I think it's important to listen to people, to hear what people are doing in terms of, making money, having cash flow, etc. But you can't do what other people are doing. I think you are just listening in just to get ideas and say, okay, that's interesting. I can't believe it. Like, she dared to leave her job, and then she was interviewing people on YouTube, and then this thing just became a sensation. Like, you can't replicate that, because you can't be Mpume. You can't be someone else. So you have to find whatever is of interest to you. And interest is important, because if you're not interested, you can't sustain it. So it must be something that actually excites you, that, you want to spend time in it, learning, etc. And sometimes you might feel that, I can't find anything. That is okay. Some people get rich from sitting in jobs, guys, and that is okay too. Don't feel that everybody's leaving their job, they're starting their own thing. I think this is the way to go. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. If it's too much work for you, it's too much work for you. Like, it must resonate specifically with you, because you can't come and replicate what I am doing. You don't know what I was doing 35 years ago, 15 years ago, etc. And therefore, you can't do what I'm doing. You have to go and do what fits for you, what interests you. And in doing that, you are actually teaching your kids that it's okay for them to be themselves. You can go, you can try crypto, and they can see you trying crypto, and then you decide, hey, this thing is not for me. And they see that, and they're like, okay, so I don't actually have to stick it out in something that I don't enjoy. If I don't like it, I really don't have to sit in pain. Pain is not necessary. I can go and try something else. And that type of conditioning for me is so important, because we can be so obsessed with growing through pain and growing through perseverance and strife and this and that. And we celebrate each other for those things. And people who have it easy in life actually feel ashamed that they have things easy in life. Why? Do we not all want it to be easy? I want it to be easy. And so
I also want it to be easy.
Want it to be easy. I can't do the whole struggle. Guys, I'm done with that. Like, please log me off sign me out. I'm not there. So it's important that your kids can see that, okay, she's trying, she keeps trying, she doesn't get it. Sometimes she gets it, and we can see. Now we're going on holiday to Mauritius. We can see, okay, mama, what happened? Oh, no, I got to pay out on my investment or whatever, and that's fun. So in as much as there's the learning and there's the sticking in it and all of this, the fun side. We all love spending money. I love spending money. I love the feeling of getting new things or getting new experiences, or decorating my home, which I did recently. It's fun. It's nice to get those feelings. And when your kids see all of that starts to build their money story, their psyche, their beliefs, that they are then going to implement 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah. But when do you start? What is the right age? When is the right age to start having this conversation, or to expose them to these money conversations?
I think you start from wherever you are, and you start now. Maybe you haven't started, you start now. You can find out from your kids what is it that they know, and you don't ask, what do you know? You ask them, oh, okay, is there something that you would have wanted to buy today in the tuck shop, for example? Oh, no, I had enough money. Oh, okay, that's nice. Is there someone that you know that maybe didn't have enough money, or whatever? I mean, there's ways to get conversations in without asking those one-word answer questions from our kids. And so I think you just, however age appropriate, if you have a 2-year-old, you can't have, a 2-year-old conversation with a 15-year-old. With a 15-year-old, you need to tailor it in such a way that the 15-year-old will actually understand for themselves, and the 2-year-old as well. For each of them to be engaged in the discussion, it must be age appropriate. So in terms of what you discuss, I know kids, like, it can be sensitive information to be sharing your bank account with them, for example. Then they're going to be broadcasting and saying, yo, my mom has 4.9 million in her bank account. But I know she told you she's broke, she's lying.
And the more you tell them not to tell, that's when they're going to tell.
No, they will tell people. Yeah. So for us, we just have discussions around income. Like Tiamo knows that my biggest investment is the business that I'm working in, which is my business. And the same goes for his father. And he understands that those two businesses actually give us money on a monthly basis for us to be able to pay for XYZ. They pay for his golf lessons. They pay for the ice cream that he sometimes would like to get, when mommy's done working, and they pay for the holidays that we go on. In terms of teaching kids about kids about money, wealth, etc., it has to be age appropriate content, if I can call it that. And you also are obviously going to start where you are. You can't teach your kids about cryptocurrency if you don't know anything about cryptocurrency. But if you know everything about selling tomatoes, you can teach them everything there is to know about tomatoes, or almost everything. I don't think we all know everything, but we can teach them as much as we know. So the conversation you're going to have with your 2-year-old is not going to be the same as the conversation you're going to have with your 16-year-old. Your 16-year-old is already making money decisions. Your 2-year-old is not making any money decisions, but you would like both of them to have some sort of intelligence around wealth and money. And so I think, with our kids, they understand that investments are what you make money from, and you can invest your time and you can get money, and then you can take money and you can invest in other things. And you investing your time is normally your job. And it's also normally when you're educating yourself, when you actually have to sit and say, how do I buy my first property, or how do I buy my first share on the JSE, or if you want to buy in New York, whatever. Yeah. And that time is then what's going to yield you that return, and you can take this money and you can go and invest it in other things. And you can invest it in more investments, or you can invest it back into yourself. You can take a trip, or you can buy a course that is going to, enhance you and your knowledge in whatever way that you may have identified. So he understands that the businesses that we have are essentially the biggest investments that we have, because that's where we are investing a lot of our time, which we can't necessarily get back. And that those are the businesses that pay for, the day-to-day, the groceries that I would go with him to go and get on a weekly basis. The money comes from the salary from the company that I have invested my time in starting and setting up, etc., etc. But he also understands that, we have bought other investments. He understands, okay, so there's easy equities, and sometimes my mom or my dad will get a dividend because they've invested in this share. And, we try and make it fun for them in that, if there's like a milestone that either one of us would have reached, then we would get, some sparkling grape juice, and we would celebrate and just have champagne together. And in that way, then they know that, okay, this is actually fun. Or for their birthdays, or pre-COVID, we would go away on trips, and that would be a way for us to celebrate again. In just talking about, you're not trying to just accumulate money, you're trying to move money around in your life, so you're not just getting it so you can sit here and be prudent, consistently prudent. No, you must spend it, you must express yourself, and you must just, let your light shine out into the world through the money that you would have been given as a tool to express yourself.
Yeah. But I think it's, if you are not doing that yourself, it does make it difficult, right, to teach anybody else that might be the thing to do. Because when you think about it, most of us were either told that you need to hold on to money because it's scarce, or there will be that element of that the minute then the money comes, it goes and gets spent, and all of it is gone. Like, then how do you even get them to comprehend that concept of money needs to flow? Because I think even when you've got it, sometimes there's that anxiety of it going out, with not knowing that when am I going to get more coming in? Like those type of conversations, how do you make them to understand?
So that's now, in my belief, the spiritual aspect of life, because we're moving into trust. We're moving into faith, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay. All you can do is just do your best today. If you do your best today, you enjoy yourself tomorrow. Today, tomorrow will come, maybe. And if it comes again, it's the new today, and you enjoy yourself today. I think I spoke earlier about the skills around making, creating, and keeping money, etc. earlier on. And I think those skills, if you have those skills, you can live in trust. You can live in trust whether you have the skills or not. But I think a lot of us, just don't, our beliefs are just not at that level where we can sit here with no money and no anxiety. Life is not structured in that way, unfortunately. You don't have money, you have anxiety of some sort. And so, me teaching my kids all these other skills around money management, around learning to find something that is your niche, that you enjoy, etc., etc. It will help them to sit and know that, you know what, even I don't worry about my breath. I don't sit here and worry about tomorrow there won't be any oxygen for me to breathe. Like, I don't know, the trees are going to be on strike or something. None of us sit and worry about oxygen for tomorrow, but we sit and we worry about money for tomorrow. You know, life, we know, we all trust that life is structured in such a way, nature is structured in such a way that we are going to be able to breathe tomorrow if we are alive.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm trying to instill in them that, look, for as long as your breath is guaranteed, your money flow is guaranteed. Money works the same way as breath. You must live in the same trust. The soil that we eat food from is going to nurture you until you die. It nurtures all of us. We all eat from the same soil. Whether you are worried about money or you are Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey, we all eat from the same soil. Yeah.
Yeah. So the worrying sometimes literally just doesn't add value. In fact, in most of the it actually just doesn't add value, but it gives you stress and strain and even blocks the good things that might happen, because you are now you're fulfilling the prophecy of just being all anxious and worrying about you're not going to get. But that takes a lot of working with yourself, and I can speak to that, because I think for me the anxiety of not having has always been there at the back of my head, and I've had to do a lot of work on really even just calming myself about believing that there's a lot of money out there, right? There's enough for all of us, and I just need to play my part to get my peace, and everybody has got their peace. But yeah, that takes a lot. As you were saying, we're conditioned. And the things that we see our parents doing, those are the stories that we start creating for ourselves. Yeah. And I think every time I say something to my kids, I'm like, oh my God, I hope I'm not traumatizing them for future.
Yeah, you know what? Like, our kids will be fine, guys. I think I was saying to someone that we live in an era where we are worried about, scarring our kids, and then they have to pay for therapy and whatever when they're 25 and they can't get their life together because, my mom said this to me, and you know what I mean? I think we were blessed in that, yes, there were disadvantages in terms of our upbringing, but for whatever reason, guys, we've been able to work through all of that, and we are here and we're still trying. And, the fear of traumatizing our kids. Now I've said, you know what, they're going to carry trauma from me. But on the other side, I am teaching them that if you struggle with something, get help. Don't sit here and say, I don't know how to make money. Okay, then get someone who can help you to learn how to make money. It's important to know your limitations. So that's great. You've identified that you don't know how to make money. Who knows how to make money? Go to them. Pay for their services or ask them for their free time if they have any. But don't sit there and die inside because you don't know how to figure this thing out. You must reach out to people. This is life. It's true. No man is an island. You cannot do anything by yourself, and nobody knows everything. We all have support structures around us that are helping us with so many things. As long as you know that, you should be okay.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good perspective, that even that process of knowing that I'll traumatize you in some shape, way, or form, because whatever that I say lands differently with you, and you find that most of the time it's not even coming from a bad place. It's just me saying something, and then it lands badly, and now you're scarred. Like,
there's nothing we can do about it. We must just accept. I think everybody does their best, especially when it comes to your kids. most people are really doing their best. Even our parents did their best, in as much as we're carrying these scars from our upbringing. They did not know better. And that
Yeah,
is
they didn't know what they didn't know, which is
no,
true.
they didn't. They did not know it. And yeah, I will budget in my wealth creation journey for you to go and get coaches and therapists and whatever as my child, for as long as you know that you don't sit there with a problem. Like, you must learn to outsource things that you cannot do yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's a good learning, because you can walk this journey of life, and mainly the journey of money, on your own and in your own corner, without having to get help, because you don't know what you don't know. So it being to put yourself out there and to ask questions and to have advisors and all sorts of other people, and will is the way to go. It really, really helps you to maneuver the journey.
Yeah.
So what are there any resources? Is there stuff that parents can look at on how to teach their kids around money? Is there anything that you know that you can share? And the reason why I kind of chose this topic for you is because I always see you talking about money and kids, and there's like this sense of you're already walking this journey with your kids, and that for me is quite fascinating.
Yeah. So I don't really have resources, because I think it's a personal journey. So what you see me sharing is my personal journey. And, just to make reference to what I said earlier, is that you need to find what interests you. And in doing that, you are instilling in them that they need to find something that interests them. Because maybe property is your thing, and you settle on that. But for them, it's like, my goodness, like, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with City of Tshwane, I don't want to deal with any of that. The accounts and what I'm not interested in any of that. And maybe they just want to send 500 Rand a month to Easy Equities and see what that looks like, because for them, that's real passive, and we all have different perspectives. So the best resource is yourself, and you learn, you teach your kids what you know. You share your journey with your kids. You let your kids see you and your failures, and your trying and failing and trying and failing again. And, because those are conversations that we have in our households, and they land on our kids. I think for me, the biggest thing was that I just did not want to have the conversations about my kids need stationery, but I don't have money to buy stationery. That for me was just a no. And so whatever conversations you're having, ask yourself, are these conversations building me? Start with you. Are they building me? And if they're building you, they're probably building your kids. If they're not building you, you've got some introspection, to go and do. And if you are not having any money conversations, again, also ask yourself why, in the home, why are you guys not having any money conversations? Is it a shame thing? Is it I don't know what the reasons would be, but you would know. And that energy is what's going to transfer to your kids. So maybe you are in the position of, I actually don't know how to make money. Then get online. There are many resources. There's books that you can read. And I'm talking now to the adults. And, you can make it age appropriate. I know when I read a book, especially Tiamo wants to know, my son wants to know, what is the book about? What are they saying? Oh, okay, what happened? So, those things happen naturally in the home. I think I'm conscious about them because I'm homeschooling. And so I always just have this thing of wanting to know, what are my kids learning? Are they learning? Because they don't have access to sitting in a classroom with a teacher who's sitting with a curriculum and trying to make sure that in 2 months, this is what they've done. We actually learn as we go. So sit on YouTube, buy books. There's Audible, there's podcasts, there's blogs. People use Instagram to blog as well these days. There's so much that is available to us as resources as parents. And in whatever it is that you are doing, that's where you take your kids on that journey. And I think it's also important to also just let kids be kids, and not, let's not try to make kids be a millionaire by age 6 so that we can go and tell our friends, Tiamo was a millionaire by age 6, self-made, whatever. No, like let kids be kids. So they're not concerned about making money. They're just learning and exploring so many things in life, and money is one of them. And so when the conversations comes up, entertain their conversations. But for me personally, I don't like to put a focus and say, okay, we're going to learn about money now. You must know about money. I believe it's going to happen by osmosis, and I can see that it's happening.
Yeah. And I think it is happening by osmosis, Phuthanang, because you love money, as you said. It's something that is very much integral in who you are, and in your own space. Whereas you might find that in other spaces, it is a bedroom conversation because maybe there is scarcity and there's a sense of fear around having those conversations. And when that happens, it also doesn't then help the kids, because then they don't understand. And I just remember those conversations about when you ask for something, you must know that you only get it at the end of the month because there is money now. And maybe that also wasn't a bad thing, because there was an element of you need to plan,
Yes.
You need to plan, you need to budget. Money is not always here. Those lands, money doesn't grow on trees.
And it does. The funny thing is paper grows on trees and money is made from paper. So money grows on trees.
I love that. I really love that. Like my son has got a thing about just go to the ATM. Ma, just go to the ATM.
Yeah. Where's your card? Where did you lose your card? No, then there's money.
You need to put money in there, dude, before you can take it out. But I think it's a fun and I think making it fun and not making it this daunting conversation, I really think it helps. It just eases the conversation, and they get to pick up things as they go along.
Yeah.
Phuthanang, thanks for taking the time. So are you on social media? Where do people find you?
Yes, I am. I am Phuthanang Motsielwa on Facebook, and I am Phuthi M on Instagram, and LinkedIn is also my name, Phuthanang Motsielwa.
Yeah, thank you very much for the time, and I think you really covered those thoughts about how do we even bring our kids to this conversation, because this podcast is necessarily targeted at professionals, but most of these professionals have got kids, and these money stories, I strongly believe we need to have, and we might not have mastered it, but we have life, we are breathing, we are here, so
we can always try again.
Exactly, we can always try again. So thanks for the time, for making the time. I really highly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Mpumi. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thanks.